All right. Hello again, adventures, and welcome to another exciting daily vlog. This is Daily Vlog 2025, number 172. And today, I believe I'm going to piss some people off. But I'm doing it because I am pissed off of the outright slander and misinformation surrounding Roll20. So, little background. I like Reddit. And one of the things I like about Reddit is I can join a subreddit, and depending on the subreddit, when I go to my homepage or For You page or whatever it is in Reddit, I get stories and posts from that page that mostly have to do with whatever the subreddit is about. And I don't have to deal with a bunch of off-topic nonsense. And if I ever do get into a subreddit that is mostly just people trying to push their own viewpoint or something like that, I can just leave it. It's nice. So when I find something new that I like, I look to see if it has a subreddit. And if it does, I joined that subreddit. So, Daggerheart. As soon as Daggerheart launched, I actually found the Daggerheart subreddit, and surprise, surprise, it's entirely about Daggerheart. And I love it. There's a lot of interesting, cool discussions. There's obviously going to be some people that just don't get the kind of concept of the game and try to have arguments about stupid shit. But that's how the internet works. But for the most part, I really enjoy it. However, one of the things that I see fairly regularly, and it's not exclusive to the Daggerheart subreddit, I've just seen it there a lot because it's a topic that comes up often, is the idea that currently the only virtual tabletop that has official Daggerheart support is Roll20, and that's through demi-playing. What that means is if you want to play Daggerheart on Roll20, you can 100% do it, depending on what you use Roll20 for, you can 100% do it with no issues whatsoever. If you want to use digital character sheets in Roll20 where the roles actually show up in the chat and stuff like that, you do have to link your Roll20 account with your Demiplane account. It is unbelievably simple. It takes less than a minute. And if you don't have a Demiplane account, you can literally log in to Demiplane using your Roll20 account and you're golden. And that's all you have to do. It's unbelievably simple. And then when you create a character, you click this little arrow icon and it pops down a list of either create new character or link a Daggerheart character. As of the most recent time I checked, creating a new character is pointless because it doesn't actually have a character sheet in Roll20 for you to use. But if you link a character from Demiplane, it'll literally bring up a window for you to look at all the characters you have in Demiplane. You just click on the one that you want, and it's there. It's completely set up. If you click on it in the game, it will bring up your character sheet. Any roles that you make from that character sheet instantly appear in chat. It is one of the smoothest interfaces I've ever seen in my life. But because there are no custom character sheets or anything like that, doing things like trying to track enemies in Roll20 isn't really possible. You can't import enemy stat blocks. There's just no function for that. And currently Demiplane doesn't technically have that function either. So I can understand some people being slightly annoyed by that aspect. But again, I've run 2 Daggerheart games thus far. Going to be running a third one this Tuesday, the 24th, at 9 p.m. Central. I had absolutely no problem running my enemies because I literally just use an Excel spreadsheet that I put the enemy name in, I put their hit points and their stress, and that's all I have to do. That's my tracker. That's what I've done for D&D for 10 years, until I started using the D&D Beyond Encounter Builder. It's what I've done for literally 10 years in running Dungeons and Dragons. I used to do it for 4th edition the exact same way. And the reason that I learned to do that is that's how you do it when you're running it at the table, is you write down all the enemies, you write down their initiative, their hit points. What I used to do is I'd actually write down their hit point maximum, then their hit points next to it. So I would know when they were bloodied or not. And that was it. It's the easiest thing in the world. But something that comes up constantly is people complaining that, well, why don't you have Foundry support? Foundry is infinitely better than Roll20. Why don't you have Foundry support? And the response from the Daggerheart team has been, we're working on it. It is significantly more complicated than just let us do Foundry. We want to do Foundry because for anyone who doesn't know what Foundry is, and I guess I should explain what Roll20 is. Roll20 is a web-based virtual tabletop. It is one of the oldest virtual tabletops that exists. I think the only one that predates it is it Fantasy Grounds that was slightly before it? I know there's at least one virtual tabletop that predates Roll20. However, I believe Roll20 is the first web-based virtual tabletop. There are more now. I think Albert Rodeo is one. There's a few others. However, most of the quote-unquote big competitors to Roll20 are, I guess you could call them instance-based or server-based things where instead of having like a website that hosts your game, it's actually hosted directly on your computer, or you could have a private server or something for it, but it's significantly more complicated. And that's what Foundry is. Foundry is a server-based virtual tabletop. And there's a few pretty big differences between the two. Again, first, we have web-based versus server-based. The big advantage of web-based is anytime somebody wants to do something, like if they want to look at their character sheet that's in Roll20, or they want to go and look at the map that they were dealing with, or modify something. Anytime anybody that's in the game can go into it and instantly do anything that they want to because it's web-based. It's hosted by Roll20. On a server-based one, the only time you can access your character, if it is your character sheet, if it is stored in there, is when the GM or whoever's hosting it, doesn't have to be the GM, but it generally is the GM because they're the ones that have to do the most work outside of the game. So 99.9999999 repeating percent of the time, the GM is hosting it, and if the GM doesn't have the server live, you can't access your character sheet. You can't access anything about it because it literally doesn't exist. Until the GM opens the server, it just doesn't exist at all. The other really big difference between the two is Foundry requires a payment. It's $50 in order to play Foundry, whereas Roll20 is 100% free. Now, Roll20 does have optional subscriptions that give you a bunch more stuff. We'll talk about that later. But Foundry is 100% free. The other thing about Foundry is just a tabletop. That's it. There's nothing else in it. If you want character sheets, if you want the rules for a tabletop RPG, you either have to purchase them separately or find a module that was created by a fan in order to put them in. Foundry in and of itself comes with nothing. Now, I do believe there are free modules. I don't use Foundry. I think I have actually... let me rephrase this. I have used Foundry. At least I think I have. but I've never purchased it. So the only person that technically needs to purchase Foundry is the person that's going to be hosting the Giga Games, which again is generally going to be the game master. Everyone else can technically log in to the SysSys server for Foundry for free, but again, you don't have access to literally anything else for Foundry. You can just only access the server that the host has created. So if you actually want to use Foundry, it's $50. Now, it's a $50 one-time purchase. There's no recurring fees or anything like that. And like I said, you can purchase books and other things like that in the same way. You can purchase them on Roll20. You can purchase them on Demiplane. You can purchase them on Fantasy Grounds. Like most virtual tabletops allow you to purchase books and things like that so that it's instantly integrated into the game. So again, that's like the big difference between the two. One of them is free and web-based. The other one costs money and is just a server-based. Now, there's a lot more differences than that. But something that's been annoying the hell out of me is how many people, and it's not just exclusive to, Daggerheart. I see this all the time. Like some buddies of mine are running a Shadowheart game that's currently on hiatus, but hopefully it'll come back before, I don't know, we have another presidential election. But they were trying to play Shadowrun 5th edition. And for whatever reason, the people that own Shadowrun do not want people playing Shadowrun. I don't know why, but there is not a single virtual tabletop that has an official Shadowrun 5th edition character sheet anywhere. Trust me, I looked. I also, in addition to me looking, there's two other people, the GM of this Shadowrun game and my buddy who's playing in this Shadowrun game. All of us scoured the internet trying to find a virtual tabletop that would allow you to run Shadowrun natively. None of them exist. Except Foundry has, I don't know if it's an unofficial module or something that allows you to run 5th edition Shadowrun. Now, 6th edition, they have free character sheets and everything on Roll20, and I think a lot of other virtual tabletops, because 6th edition is the newest. But 5th edition, it just doesn't exist anywhere. It's mind-boggling how difficult it is to be able to play Shadowrun 5th edition on a virtual tabletop. And so when my buddy found Shadowrun, he's like, dude, Shadowrun is so much better than Roll20. It's amazingly better. And I keep hearing this from everyone. Or not Shadowrun. Let's try this again. Foundry is so much better than Roll20. Foundry is just it's leaps and bounds. I cannot tell you how much easier it is to run everything on Foundry than it is to run it on Roll20. Roll20 is just so horrible and disgusting. And I've been using Roll20 for nearly a decade. I started running online D&D games 10 years ago. And my first games were run via Google Hangouts. That's how old this is. But my first virtual tabletop was Roll20, and I've been using it, like I said, for almost 10 years, I believe. I'm very familiar with it. And all of the critiques that I've heard that Foundry does so much better than Roll20, or Foundry can do and Roll20 can't, just aren't true. Like, I cannot tell you how many times people say, well, Foundry has like built-in, lighting support. So does Roll20. Well, yeah, but you have to pay a subscription for Roll20. Oh, okay. I'm gonna pull this Band-Aid off really quick. 100%, of the dynamic lighting tools that I have seen used on virtual tabletops fucking suck. They're the dumbest things I've ever seen, because the way that they treat dynamic lighting is you can put light sources. And I actually can't remember off the top of my head if they have a dynamic lighting aspect in the free version of Roll20 or without a subscription. I do know if you get the just even the base subscription for Roll20, you get access to all of the dynamic lighting stuff, which works identically to how Foundry works, except you don't have to pay $50 up front for it. I think it's like $4 or $5 a month for the Roll20 version, which again, over time, it's more expensive. Yes, but not everybody has $50 that they can shell at a given time, but they might have an extra $5 a month that they can, and don't want to have to wait for almost a year to be able to afford a virtual tabletop. But anyway, getting back to the idea of dynamic lighting, what they do is you can put these light sources that will light out to a certain point. And what light means is the players will see nothing but black except where the light sources are, and the light sources will end exactly where it says the bright light or the dim light ends. And so you will see a perfect circle of the map and then darkness. Not like a shadow or anything, complete and utter darkness. Now, for units that have something like Dark Vision or something, it will give you a tiny little arrow that you can turn the token of your player token. You can turn it and see this tiny little viewpoint, which doesn't make sense. Fun fact: an average human has a field of vision of roughly 180 degrees. I can see this over here and this over here while looking straight ahead. 180 degree field of vision. Now, your peripherals are not super clear. Like I couldn't read a book from over here, but I can see movement. I can see objects and things like that that are literally right next to my head. The actual quote-unquote clear field of view, which is effectively where both of your eyes are overlapping, is each eye, if I remember correctly, has about 130 degree field of view. And so the overlap, if I remember correctly, I want to say the number is 130. It might be wrong. It might be a little bit less than that. But anyway, it's a pretty decently large field of view. The field of view that you have on these tokens, for whatever reason, is barely like 45 degrees. You have this tiny, 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 tiny thing that doesn't work. Like, it's just pointless. You can't see the vast majority of any room that you're in, especially if it's a small room, because, again, how vectors work and angles work is a like 20 degree angle here gets very, very wide the further out you get. So if your character token is way on the edge of the room and you're looking at a room that's 200 feet long, you can see a decent amount of the room. However, if you are in like a 15 by 15 or 20 by 20 foot room, which is really common in a dungeon, you can't see shit. No one can see a goddamn thing because they give you this tiny little thing. So some people go, well, yeah, you have to pay for pay for dynamic lighting in Roll20, but it's just included in Foundry. You don't need to use it. It's absolutely shit, and it's significantly better to just use the Fog of War feature that is available for free in Roll20. Because then, when a character enters a room that they should be able to see everything in, I just select the room and make it visible to them. And that works exactly like human vision. Have you ever gone into a room where you could see everything and then had to constantly keep turning your body so that you could see every part of the room? No, it's not how it works. It's just stupid. If you think dynamic lighting actually makes your games better, you don't know what you're talking about. The only way that I actually enjoy dynamic lighting is as if instead of, oh, I can only see this, if they would just give you, like, let's say you have 30 feet of dark vision or something, on your character, give them a 30-foot radius of shit they can see so that they don't have to constantly be swinging this tiny little pie piece in order to see what's going on, and positioning their character literally against the wall to be able to see what's in a room. I'd be fine with that. And technically there are ways to do that, basically giving each token a light source instead of relying in the built-in vision can technically simulate that, but it takes additional steps, and it's just a massive waste of time since it's never going to make your game better. Like, the idea of making it significantly harder for the players to see things in a room they're already in is never going to be, oh my god, I've never heard a player go, oh my god, it was so great that I couldn't see anything in that room. Like, it made me so happy that I had to constantly spin my token around. It does give the players something to do when they're not actively role-playing, but it's also unbelievably distracting to the GM to watch them just constantly circling around to see what's going on in the room. So, okay, let's claim that Foundry... Okay, Foundry does give you that. Again, you still have to pay $50, and your players are still locked out of it anytime you are not actively working on it. So their characters simply don't exist when in between games, which also means things like, well, you need to level up your characters. You can only do that when the GM is there. The players are not allowed to level up their characters on their own. Nothing. Okay, well, fine. There's other things that Foundry does better. Like Foundry, you can import maps. You could do that in Roll20. They actually have a feature now where if you put a map in, it will detect that it's a map, and it will go, do you want to stretch the map to fit the screen or to fit the area that you already have defined, or would you like us to change the area to fit the map, and would you like us to immediately move this to the map layer? It's as easy as that. It's massively simple. They have built-in grids that you can or can't use. You don't have to use them. They have a built-in measuring tool. They have a built-in music library that's 100% free. You can upload your own music. That's 100% free. You have a limited amount of space if you're using a free account, which if you're uploading music, you will hit it very, very quickly. So one of the reasons I started using a subscription, because it just gave me more space that I could upload. But if you're not uploading your own music, which you don't need to in Roll20, because it has a massive list of free music that you can use, including, I think, the entirety of the Incomptech library, or at least a massive chunk of it, which is all Creative Commons music made by Kevin MacLeod, who's an amazing, wonderful person. None of that on Foundry. In any way, shape, or form. Yeah, but Foundry, you can customize exactly... You can do the exact same thing on Roll20. And it's actually easier. I cannot tell you how many people have told me that, oh, Foundry is just so much better because you can create custom macros and stuff like that. Well, you kind of have got me there, because you technically can't do that just in just in the interface itself. You can roll anything that you want to in the chat box as long as you know the command for it, like /roll space 1d6, you'll roll 1d6. /roll 2d8 exclamation point means you roll 2d8s and the dice explode, and you need to add up those explosions as opposed to counting them as separate dice. You can do all of that in Roll20. And with Jumpgate, which is their kind of upgraded version of Roll20, everything works significantly better. They now have a weather effects layer where it will allow you to put things in there that like weather effects like rain or fog or stuff like that, and it will appear translucent so that the players can still see, but you can still see it. That's not something I believe you can do in Foundry. Most of the character sheets actually have the ability for you to add custom buttons and stuff like that, so that you can make your own stuff. So the idea of, I could create my own macros, technically you can do the same thing, you just have to do it through the character sheet, and the vast majority of character sheets already have all the buttons that you would ever need. So there's no reason to create your own custom macros because the buttons already exist. Like, I'm really, really blown away by all the people that just have this kind of hate boner against Roll20. I don't know if it's the fact that it's free, and Foundry is paid, and so they're like, well, the paid one has to be better. I don't know if it's just the idea that they don't like Roll20 in general because it's popular, or because they have a problem with the founders or something like that. I don't understand the hate for Roll20. It is a remarkably effective thing. I have never had an idea that I wanted to implement in a tabletop RPG that I couldn't do in Roll20, aside from one thing. One thing that I've always wanted to be able to do is I wanted to be able to have interactable puzzles. And in order to do that in Roll20, effectively what you have to do is add each whatever aspect of the puzzle as a token, and then give everybody the ability to move that token. And I actually did that once with like a pipe, one of those things where you have to like rotate pipes to get a path through. I made a puzzle like that, and my players solved it almost instantly. It was kind of upsetting for me, mostly because I designed the puzzle myself, and I'm not really great at designing that specific kind of puzzle. And so I think I just made it too easy. But if I wanted, like, I had one where I wanted to do a lights out puzzle. Effectively, if you don't know what lights out is, it was an electronic game in the 90s where effectively you would be given a grid. I think it was like a 5x5 or a 6x6 grid of buttons that a random number of them would be lit up, and you would have to unlight them. And anytime you push a button, it will either turn off or turn on that particular button, depending on whether it was already off and on. And it'll do the exact same thing to every button that is in a direct cardinal direction from it. So north, south, east, west. And so the trick to lights out is you have to kind of figure out how you can get everything out while adhering to that pattern. And there are online versions of that, but I found a workaround to be able to do that through a online Giga game, but I couldn't do it through Roll20. So that has been the only thing that I can't do directly in Roll20. And you can't do that in Foundry or any other virtual tabletop either. It just doesn't happen. Doesn't work that way. Literally everything else in Roll20, or I've seen people complain that only Foundry can do. I can do it in Roll20. I can do it easier in Roll20 because Foundry, because it requires you to manually install each different little component, and it's not super user friendly. It's the same argument that I hear for Pathfinder. Pathfinder is significantly more customizable. No, it's not. It's just more complicated. It requires like 7 steps to do the same thing that you could do in D&D in 2 steps. It doesn't make it more quote-unquote customizable. It makes it more complicated. I had this argument years and years and years ago where somebody said, well, no, there are a lot of characters that you can't make in D&D that you can in Pathfinder because it's so customizable. Like, no, not name a character. Literally, give me any character that you want. I can make it in D&D 5th edition, and I guarantee you I can make it a viable character where they are regularly hitting with whatever weapons that they're using at a lower level than you can do it in Pathfinder, and it will be significantly easier to understand. And I was able to do it like 3 or 4 times in a row until I finally went, you know what, I'm tired of this. You guys are just going to keep trying to come up with reasons why Pathfinder can create some really weird, obscure character that I can't create in D&D, and it's becoming a null point. The same thing is true about Foundry. Everyone says, "Oh, Foundry is significant." No, it's just more complicated. It's just significantly more complicated. It has a significantly higher learning curve, and it doesn't offer anything that I can't do in Roll20 for free or for really cheap. Again, the other benefit of Roll20 right now is because it's linked with Demiplane, if you have any subscription on Roll20, you instantly also have a subscription on Demiplane, which means you can share anything you own on Demiplane with up to 25 people. It means you can create an unlimited number of characters on Demiplane, whereas without that, you can only create 10, which is still nice. But it's, again, and I have the expensive subscription because I get free shit. And that's the other thing about Roll20 is there's tons of free shit. There are literally hundreds of free tokens that you can use. There are dozens of free maps that you can use. You don't have to have a subscription, anything. They just already exist there. You can go to the Roll20 marketplace and buy just about anything you want. Do you want animated tokens that look like they're from a 16-bit video game? They exist. I own quite a few of them. For my Fabula Ultima game, I purchased like 3 or 4 different packs of them, and I loved every single one of them. They're amazing and wonderful. Do you want maps? Do you want maps that have like moving stuff Yep, you can get them right on Roll20. You can import them. If you get them literally anywhere else, you can import them directly into Roll20. It does support moving maps and things like that, and GIFs and all that other stuff. 100% supported. Do you want to import things that have dynamic light already built into the maps so that you don't have to manually put in all your dynamic lights if you want to use dynamic lights? Absolutely. Roll20 supports that. There are even quite a few different programs that have an instant export to Roll20 button so that you don't even have to do anything complicated. You literally just take a link, put it into Roll20, and it instantly populates your map. There's a, which one is it? Is it, how come? There's a new map making software that I keep meaning to get, but it costs money. That basically you kind of drag and drop to create the areas of your rooms, and then you tell it what kind of room it is, and it will auto-populate it with things like lights. And let's say like you're making a bedroom, you go, I want a bedroom that's like, I want a 20 by 20 bedroom. And so you create a 20 by 20 room, and you tell it it's a bedroom, and it automatically puts beds in there and nightstands and all that other stuff. And those maps in particular, you can export directly to Roll20, and it will automatically import the dynamic light sources. If you want to use that stupid dynamic lighting, you can do that. So literally, there's nothing that Roll20 can't do that Foundry can. And the one argument I've been able to see, well, I only have to pay $50 for it once, whereas if I want to use dynamic lighting, which fucking sucks, but okay, you want to use dynamic lighting, I would have to pay a subscription to Roll20, whereas Foundry, once I buy it, I never have to pay for it again. Yeah, but you have to buy everything else, or you have to wait for someone else to build a module for Foundry to do anything. Roll20 already supports hundreds of different tabletop RPGs for free. You can play the Power Rangers RPG on Roll20 right now. They have the character sheets already there. You just pick Power Rangers RPG. You can build your characters right in Roll20. I believe I might have used Roll20 in one of my designing new dragons series. Maybe not. I don't know. But it's there. That's what we used for my Power Rangers mini campaign. Is we used the Roll20 character sheets. They worked great. I think almost every major tabletop RPG right now has a free character sheet. A lot of them have multiple. And if the character sheet isn't what you want, either you can build your own character sheet, which does require, I think it's the high subscription, which I think is like $10 a month. It's the one that I have. If you want to build your own character sheet, or there's an entire forum where you can just contact people who build character sheets for a living and go, hey, I need a character sheet for this particular game. Can you do it? And it's a one-time fee, and then you got it. And that's all you got to do. It's monumentally simple. So, Anyway, that's just my little rant. I'm just really sick of everyone telling me how amazing Foundry is when it isn't. It's overly complicated, it's not user friendly, and everything you can do in Foundry, I can do in Roll20, and I can teach you how to do it in Roll20 significantly faster than you can figure out how to do it in Foundry. I will guarantee it. So yeah, interested to hear from you guys. Specifically, do I have any Foundry fans out there? I would especially love to hear from Foundry fans that have also used Roll20. And I'm not talking about, well, I tried Roll20 once and it was completely horrible. No, you didn't take the time to learn it. You didn't use Roll20. I'm talking about people that have actually either run a game or played a game in both of them that actually have experience using both of them, not just, well, I tried it once and it was really bad. Sell me on Foundry. Please, please, please sell me on Foundry. I would love to know what it is about this program that makes it so vastly superior to everything on the market, because everything that I've seen thus far, it's just not. It's not fun to play in. It's not fun to GM in. Like even simple stuff like, because the GM for the Shadowrun campaign I was talking about, he can't set up scenes, like save scenes in a way that he can just go from one to another. I can do that in Roll20, and they just added a folder feature where if I want to go, okay, these are all my battle scenes. These are my world map scenes. These are my city scenes. And I can just separate them into a bunch of different folders to make it massively simple to be able to find whatever scene I want. You can't do that in Foundry. It's not possible. Or at least it's not possible for my friend who has been telling me how amazing and wonderful Foundry is. There might be a way to do it, and he just hasn't figured it out because he's still relatively new. But yeah, so like I said, if you're a Foundry fan and you actually have knowledge of Roll20, not just, I tried it once and it was dumb, please sell me on Foundry. Tell me what it is that I'm missing about this program other than, well, I don't have to pay a subscription for it. Because that's not enough for me to consider anything better, especially since it's $50 fucking. Anyway, that's my rant for today. It was just annoying me, and I'm tired of listening to people bitch and moan because Foundry doesn't, or Daggerheart doesn't have Foundry support. I really could give a flying fuck. And guess what? You can play Daggerheart on Foundry without any Foundry support. Use the paper character sheets that come with it and roll physical dice. That's all you have to do. I have run tons of games like that. That's how I ran my first game. And if you're like, well, if I can't see their dice, how do I know they're not cheating? You're a shitty GM. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you can't figure out that your players are cheating, if you can't watch every single roll that they make, you're a shitty GM. This is the spiel that I give to every new player that I have at one of my virtual tables. Okay, so you are allowed to roll any dice that you want. If you want to roll them in Roll20, go for it. If you want to use an online dice roller, go for it. If you want to use physical dice, go for it. If you want to roll dice on your phone, go for it. I really don't care what dice you use. And if the reason that you don't want to use the Roll21 is so that you can cheat, I'm going to let you know right now, I'm going to know that you're cheating. There is no way to quote-unquote cheat in a tabletop RPG that you aren't obvious about it. Because either you're always making the saves when you always need them, or anyone that's paying attention is noticing that you have more spell slots or something. Like, not only will I know that you're cheating, everybody else will know that you're cheating at the table as well. So I don't need to see your dice to know that you're cheating. And there's no reason to cheat. There's no prize at the end for winning. This is a made-up world that we use our imagination in, with made-up rules and made-up stakes. There's no benefit to cheating because you don't win anything at the end. The experience is the win. That's the reward. So if you feel that you need to cheat in order to quote-unquote win, you have bigger problems. And me seeing your dice roll is not going to fix that. So if you feel the need to cheat, like I said, I'm going to know you're doing it. I've been doing this long enough to know when people are cheating. I know when you cheated on your rolls to get your attributes. Again, it's not that difficult to figure out. I know when you're cheating in the Giga game. Everybody else does as well. You're not pulling a fast one on anyone. And if you can't play without cheating, I'm just going to say, maybe this isn't the game for you. And that's it. So, yeah, if you want to play Daggerheart in Foundry, you can right now. You just can't use character sheets in the Foundry program, which is actually a benefit. Because if you use paper character sheets or form fillable character sheets or anything like that, or the demi-playing character sheets, your players can actually look at their characters when they're not playing. Whereas with Foundry, the only time your players are going to look at their character sheet is when they are actively playing. Because they literally can't. Anyway, it's all for me today. We'll see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.